There's a moment every truck driver knows. It usually doesn't happen on the highway. It happens when you're sitting still. Maybe you're sitting in a truck stop at 2 a.m., staring at your phone, wondering if the company you drive for actually gives a damn about you. Maybe it's after a rough dispatch call. Maybe it's after your third delay in 2 days. Maybe it's when you realize nobody even knows your name. They just know your truck number. And that's when the thought creeps in. There's got to be something better than this. But starting somewhere new, that's a gamble. New people, new equipment, new system, new expectations. You don't know if you're walking into the best decision of your career or the worst mistake you've ever made. Today's guest, Frank Moreno, took that gamble a little over 6 months ago. He bet on himself. He bet on liquid trucking. And today, you're going to hear what actually happens after you say yes. Not the recruiting brochure version, not the corporate sales pitch version, the real version. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
What's up, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. I'm Marcus, and I am joined today by my co-host, Amanda, out in Ohio. What's good, Amanda? How's Ohio treating you today?
Oh, Ohio loves me, so it treats me very well, of course. No, I'm kidding. It's awful. There's snow. It won't stop. No school, so everybody's kids are home annoying them. That's Ohio today.
I talked to my friend from Connecticut this morning, and he said they got 20 fresh inches of snow in Connecticut. The power has been out for like 8 days. They're stranded at their house. It's pouring. It is like the quintessential Pacific Northwest rain right now out here in Oregon, which, by the way, we really needed it. But, man, you guys are getting hammered out east. I don't want to be out there with you guys right now. How much snow do you have on the ground as we record this?
So we had like a weird week of warm-up. So we had probably about 20 inches on the ground, and then we had a weird week of warm-up where it was in the 50s almost every single day. So it completely disappeared. Now we're back up to, I want to say, probably between 4 and 6 inches just from yesterday afternoon to today. Luckily, this one didn't hit us as hard as the last one did. And yes, our counterparts in New England are getting hit much harder. And, you know, I have this fun little back and forth. I grew up in Connecticut. I now live in the Midwest. I now live in Ohio. And so when they were all calling us sissies for the snow we got a few weeks ago, I get to return the favor here today. So I'm all right with it.
Good. Well, there's a reason we tell you drivers to stay safe out there and keep the shiny side up at the end of the episode. We know that stuff goes on out there sometimes, and you guys are the ones out there driving in it. So do be safe, pay special mind. Of course, you won't hear this episode for 2 weeks, but I can guarantee you it's still going to be hairy out there somewhere. So what's the episode about today? Well, we're going to be talking to somebody who has just recently wrapped up their first 6 months as a driver for Liquid Trucking. We talked to a lot of drivers that have been here for 30 plus years. We talked to a lot of drivers that have been here for, 5, 2, 1, 10, anywhere in between, some of the longest tenured drivers. But one thing we don't get to have on this show a lot are the newer drivers and talking about their new experience. Now, we bring new drivers on the show all the time to talk about all manner of things. But Amanda, it's been a while since we've brought in a driver to talk about that first 6 months and kind of the first day jitters of it all. And I was thinking about the first day jitters. And, back when I started this podcast, you want to talk about first day jitters. We had gone out, we had done a short discovery out there, but really that was me just kind of following Grant around. And we were it was drinking from a fire hose the entire time. I had no time to really sit down and get to know people. And same thing when I went back out to Liquid Trucking for the launch. I was getting to meet people, but I was meeting people, shaking hands, giving them their stuff and sending them out the door. And we were trying to kind of quantity over quality there. I will say looking forward now, 118 episodes in, I'm so comfortable with everybody at Liquid, and if I'd have been able to tell myself back then, hey, 118 episodes in, these guys are going to love you, you're going to love them, maybe things would have been a little bit easier. But I wondered, Amanda, since you kind of just started off here, First day jitters for you starting this job?
This was definitely different because I'm used to so much more structure. Definitely with the radio background, obviously it's almost the militant of this is what time you get to work and you're there until this time period, no matter what, every day, unless you're dying. Doesn't matter if it is, for example, a blizzard out there, they would say things to you like, well, you know what industry you're in, so we expect you to have the right kind of vehicle to get you to work through it.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I think I had way more jitters probably every time I had to start at a new radio station. I think that the
Yeah.
unknown of coming over here almost made it like easier because I didn't have a preconceived notion of what to expect, right? I think when you're going in somewhere where, for example, people that drive for other companies that hop over to Liquid, they're like, hey, grass is greener. I want to try it out. You might have experience in that industry, just not with that company. And those are the scenarios that definitely give me those first day jitters. I will say I've worked quite a few different radio stations, which happens when you're in that industry. But the most memorable first day I had, it was at a cluster in Cleveland, and the guy on the classic rock station was just like legendary. Everybody knew this guy, and so I was real nervous to meet. The big dogs, these high market, high paid radio people. I was just like a lowly whatever. I wasn't, but in my mind I was, you know what I mean? And so this gentleman pulled me aside and he was like, hey Amanda, I just, welcome to the company. I just want to tell you, this place is like high school, but with money. Don't let anything get to you and just try to have fun. And like, I thought that was just, for one, so nice for somebody to kind of put my mind at ease right from the very beginning. I think the equivalent to that at Liquid would probably be our boy Debo. Just kind of being that friendly face to bring you in each day, make sure you're comfortable, make sure that you're getting acclimated. But I think it's impossible not to have some sort of jitters when you start anything brand new.
Can I tell you about my first day on the radio?
No. Yes.
So I have such a different path into it than anybody else that I've ever met. And the show that I was on for almost 10 years called The Donkey Show. And it had been running for about 4 years by the time that I found it. And I was in college, and they had a contest, a call-in contest for the winner got tickets to a Black Sabbath cover band at a local bar.
Okay.
So real high stakes here, right? The contest was a Yo Mama contest, and they had 8 callers. I was one of them, and we were bracketed, and we told Yo Mama jokes, and the guys that ran the show judged us, and if they thought your Yo Mama jokes were better than the other guy, you moved on to the next round. So I ended up beating 4 people with Yo Mama jokes. No kidding. I see the look on your face right now, and you're like, how on earth is this going to parlay into you and a radio career? I promise you I'll get there.
I see it. I'm just wondering why I've never tapped into this knowledge before. This is something that could have come in handy to me.
Yeah, so I win, and I remember they were telling me on the air, they're like, hey, you're really funny, good job, like, call back whenever you want, that kind of stuff, and I was in the studio picking up my Black Sabbath cover band tickets because me and my friends were going to go have some fun that Saturday, and one of the hosts walked by, and he saw me. Now, this guy has since become one of my closest friends in the world, 20 years later. But he saw me, and he just he stopped for a minute, and he opened the door, and he went out and into the lobby where I was, and he says, are you Marcus from the Yo Mama joke? And I said, yeah. And he goes, dude, you were really funny. You can come by the studio anytime. And I said, how about tomorrow?
Right.
And he goes, yeah, whatever. And he just kind of turned around and walked off. Amanda, I showed up the next day with a case of beer, a bottle of Jägermeister, and a 6-pack of Red Bull. I just wanted to give all of the things to all the people. Like, if you drink heavy, if you're an energy drink guy, the only thing I didn't have was fresh coffee brewed. But I showed up, and I like to tell people I never left. Like, I just showed up and kept going there until they kicked me out. And they never kicked me out until they flipped the station. So, but first day jitters for me, sitting there with a case of beer and a 5th of Jägermeister and a 6-pack of Red Bull on my lap, frozen solid, Amanda. When they came to me the first time and somebody shoved a mic in front of my face, I don't know how many seconds it was before I finally said something because I froze absolutely solid. And until you jump in with both feet and you do something like that you've never done before, It's a frozen solid moment, and I wonder if we're going to get any frozen solid moments out of our guest, Frank Moreno, today, because he's going to tell us all about what it was like coming to Liquid from soup to nuts, where he was before, what was going on in his mind when he got here, and how the whole process went. So, yeah, I thought that would be a fun little conversation for us to have, some first-day jitters that you and I have gone through. A little bit different, but hey, parlayed it both into a couple nice radio careers, so obviously we came out of that okay, unscathed, if you will.
Yeah, I wish my first day would have started with some Jaeger. Dang.
Yeah, maybe if I hadn't have been drinking all that beer and Jaeger, I would have been a little quicker on the jump when they came to me, Amanda. Who knows?
Yeah, helped with the jitters, though, for sure.
It did, and it got my foot in the door. That's what I always tell them is like, my dad used to tell me all the time with job applications when I was in high school trying to get that first, retail job or whatever it is. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, Marcus. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, I can tell you from professional experience, you can also just show up and never leave. They do have ways to remove you from the premises, but if they don't exercise those, you can parlay that into a job. I've done it. So good luck to you out there. But that said, Amanda, let's bring in Frank here and talk a little bit about the first 6 months here at Liquid Trucking. All right, Amanda, it's been a little while since we've gotten to do an episode like this, but I'm super excited for it. The Liquid experience ranges so widely. We've got guys that have been here for 30 years, and almost always we've got guys that are just starting out, right? Trucking's a high turnover industry. You're always going to have new drivers coming in. But it's been a little while since we've got one of those guys on to talk us through like the first 6 months, like really tell us what it feels like to get your feet wet for the first time. And Amanda, I kind of feel like those types of stories are important because there's a lot of people listening to this show wondering if they want to go to work for Liquid,
Absolutely. I'll be honest with you. The main thing I keep telling myself over and over in my head is like, don't say Frankie baby like you work in Vegas in a lounge singing place, whatever, but just keep it together. Just keep it together. But no, like literally of any person that you could possibly want to talk to, when you're looking at taking a job somewhere, somebody that works there, hello. I mean, this is like the ultimate hookup for somebody that is looking for information.
Exactly. And maybe somebody that's worked at that company for 30 years, like they have great insight. Don't get me wrong. Polar Bear knows more than he's forgotten more than I'll ever know about trucking. But his first 6 months were a long time ago. We got a driver here right now that is fresh off his first 6 months. His name is Frank Moreno. Frank, welcome to the show. Is it going to bug you if Amanda calls you Frankie, baby? We should just get that out in the open right off the bat, man.
Well, call me anything you want. Just don't call me late for supper.
There you
That's
go.
all I ask. We're good to go.
Awesome, man. Well, Frank, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, man. Where are you at and where are you headed right now?
Right now I'm headed towards Kingsport, Tennessee, and I just came out of Cordell, Georgia.
Okay. And how's the traffic? How's the weather? We doing all right out there?
Traffic's nuts, but it's funny. The South has this weird thing where they just completely skip over spring, and it's just all of a sudden summer. I mean, it was 90 degrees today at some point,
90?
and it was already humid. What? Yeah, it was 90 degrees and humid. So, yeah, they completely skip spring. They've just said, spring ain't necessary. Who needs that jazz? We're just going to go straight into the summer and good to go.
Man, Amanda, I don't know about you, but that type of weather report is making me rethink living in one of the 3 O states right now.
Sir, our weather did a complete reverse today. We had 2 highs today. Seriously, we had a high in the mid-50s, and then we had a secondary high midday where it dropped to about 40 degrees. Like, it is, ew, why do I live here? Why do I live here?
Well, aside from the traffic, I'm glad you got good weather for the conversation, Frank, and thanks for joining us here today, man. So how long have you been driving for Liquid?
7, almost 8 months.
7, almost 8 months. Okay, cool. I had the 6-month thing in my head there. So take me back to 8 to 9 months ago, Frank. That's really where I want to start here. Where were you in your career before you started for Liquid, and what made you start looking for something new?
I was working for so prior to moving to Iowa and stuff like that, I was working for FedEx as a contractor. I was a ground contractor and I was a team driver, so I did that. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of rough. I mean, you're out on the road constantly. You're gone all the time, especially because FedEx ground, holidays don't mean anything. And really, I mean, you're just a number of those people, to be honest with you. It's kind of one of those things. But I mean, it made good money or whatnot. But eventually I thought to myself, why am I going to continue doing this when I could be making the same exact amount of money while hauling a tanker? So I started looking for tanker jobs, but unfortunately, when it comes to tanker, they want you to have the experience. They don't want to give it to you, though. So it was kind of one of those back and forth things, and then basically I ended up here.
And what types of things were you looking for in your next company that Liquid was offering? Like, was there anything specific aside from the tanker side of things and maybe some home time? What were some of the things that drew you over here to where we're at in Plattsmouth?
Man, the hourly pay was definitely a big thing. I've never heard of that, especially in trucking, ever. That's something usually you get if you're a local guy, maybe. I mean, even then, there are a lot of local jobs that still pay cents per mile. And that was one thing. The home time ain't really a big deal for me. I like to be gone, man. I like to keep the wheels turning. I like to make money. I like to do that stuff, and I have a lot of fun over the road. A lot of guys don't have a lot of fun, but I definitely do. And, just that, the hourly pay, just, the essence of the importance of safety, nice equipment, that was something else. And a big company. Now for me too, I think the training portion of it, the first 2 weeks when you start, were actually really big for me as well. I think that was something that really pushed me into it.
Okay, we'll definitely get to that because I want to really spend some time dialing in on that because we got some great trainers. We got some great guys that are in, driver development. We talk about Bo and Cole, mention them all the time on this show. We've got some great driver trainers out there, and so I definitely want to get into that. But before we get to the actual training, let's start out with a little bit of the recruiting process. First off, how did the recruiting process go? Was there some back and forth? Was it something where you didn't need to know much? You were just on board? What did it look like for you, Frank?
Mr. Debo, Jake Debo, was my recruiter, and he really put it down straight. I mean, explained to me the pay, the way, the first pays and stuff like that, even and especially if you're a guy who's coming in, you're kind of hurting, man. That first paycheck you get right at the beginning is always good. And, honestly, the benefits and everything like that, I was pretty sold from the get-go. There wasn't a lot of back and forth. Actually, at one point, I did try to go local. I was I ended up taking a job with XPO, so I didn't end up coming here right away. And then didn't pan out with them. And so I thought to myself, you know what? That was a great offer. I don't think you can get a better offer than that anywhere else. So I called them up, and I mean, literally, it was nothing more than just a couple of days. I was right there in training. They transferred me right in.
Amanda, we're big Jake Debo fans on this podcast, aren't we?
Oh, I'm already there so quickly. I don't even know how that happened so fast. Frank, did he woo you with the beef jerky bouquet, or was him being straightforward with what was happening enough to get you to sign on?
I don't think I've ever seen the beef jerky bouquet, but I will say just him being as straightforward as he was, playing it as it was, and everything else, that definitely was a selling point for me. And no BS. He actually told me something that I definitely remember, and I definitely took it to heart. He said, "I want to under-promise and over-deliver rather than under-deliver and over-promise."
Yeah,
or something like that. But he definitely said something along those lines, and I gotta say, I definitely have had some time to think about that. And he definitely under-promised, and it definitely over-delivered.
That's awesome, man. That's the best thing you can ask for. And hey, you never know. Jake might still be trying to woo you. You could see the beef jerky bouquet sometime later down the road. It just depends, man. He might have a favor he needs to ask you at some point in time, so he's got to keep a card in his pocket, if you know what I mean.
Oh man, beef jerky. Oh, it better be deer, because that's the only way you get me.
You and I are kindred spirits, man. Are you a hunter?
A little bit. My dad and them mostly. I used to tag along mostly for the most part, but I mean, I had a lot of fun with them on the hunt.
And you reap the benefits of the jerky, so that's all that matters,
Absolutely.
man.
Well,
hear ya.
hiking in there with them, we definitely worked for it. It was a lot of hunting in East Texas. Good hunting in East Texas. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, man. I'm sure. Well, here's one last question on just the recruiting side of things, and then we'll kind of dig in a little bit to the training and how getting out on the road actually went for you, Frank. But at the moment that you said yes to Jake and you accepted the offer, how confident were you that you'd made the right decision at that point?
You know, I was a little iffy. I ain't gonna lie, man. Trucking's crazy. I've worked for a couple companies over my time, and they definitely have never been fun. I've never really been in a company where I was truly like, yeah, I like it here, and I see myself with a formidable future here, whatnot, things like that. So definitely it was we're going to see what it's like and, get there and, but I came in with an open mind, that's for sure.
You have to. You so much have to. And I know, Amanda, you've worked in plenty of places in your professional career. And one of the things that I think I'm always apprehensive about when you start a new job is how am I going to blend into this culture? Am I moving up? Am I swimming against the salmon here, or am I right in the run? And hey, I can relate. I don't know about you, Amanda, but I think there's always a bit of apprehension there. What do you think?
I think with everything, I think even when, Frank's saying he had a different type of experience before he came, I would be apprehensive applying my previous knowledge. I would probably be apprehensive all the way around, but I think that that's part of the nurturing environment of liquid trucking is bringing you on and not casting you out to kind of figure everything out on your own. Would you agree with that, Frank?
Absolutely. I mean, it definitely was nice to just not be I mean, a lot of these trucking jobs, it definitely was a sink or swim situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of nice to go back to coloring books and crayons.
Heck yeah, man. All right, so we'll move forward in the timeline here. We've accepted the offer, and just a couple of days later, you're in-house. What's the experience like there? What was different about it from some of the other places that you've been in those first couple of days?
I was the only guy in orientation. My orientation was empty. Nobody wanted to come through. It was the week of the 4th of July. It was the week of the 4th of July, so nobody was there.
Everybody's out tanning their thighs, man. Come on now, we got to have a little bit of fun in this industry.
Shoot, man. I mean, listen, you got to be all work in this place. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. But no, I mean, Cole was there, Bo was there. They were funny. They made it funny. A lot of it was just, realistic. It wasn't a lot of filler. It was a lot of, good learning opportunity and stuff like that. And it was, I mean, the first couple of days, the first day is just, basically just the basic orientation, whatever. Second day is your physical. Once you pass that, they take you to lunch or whatever, which was awesome. And that barbecue place in Plattsmouth, perfect.
It's pretty good.
Never had good barbecue this side or up north like that. So that was definitely something new. I mean, you could pick anywhere really, but I mean, it was cool. Like it was relaxed. It was very, very relaxed, but very very informative and very, very professional. It was good.
Yeah, Bo and Cole they're such good people. Just, you can tell when you just get to talking to them. I was fortunate enough, I've gotten to hang out with Bo and Cole quite a few times. They took me to lunch too, along with Nick, back when I was very first at Liquid, and just sitting down and enjoying one of the best burgers I've ever had with those gentlemen really gives you a peek behind the curtain of what type of people they are. And whenever we talk to drivers that have come out of their orientation, they always have great things to say about Bo and Cole, Amanda. And I can't think of a better way to welcome drivers in than with a couple of guys like that make you feel like you're part of the family almost immediately. And it's like that's invaluable to a guy like me because I'm terrified everywhere I go when it's someplace new. so having guys like Bo and Cole, Amanda, is almost crucial for a person like me. And I don't know about you, but that kind of, does humor help you break the ice a little bit? I feel like it does.
Humor's my superpower for everything, that and sarcasm. But I have to say, if they would have led with barbecue, they could have skipped talking about benefits or anything else. I would have said, what? We're going where after I sign? Okay, let's go.
Yep. And listen, Frank, let's give the some people that are listening to this a little bit of a further peek behind the curtain. Have you been out to the country bar yet for a meal?
Yeah, I have, and that is something I gotta say. It's pretty good. It's very homely. I gotta say, it reminds me a lot of like the South, and it's very homely. And it's like, it's got an old country feel to it. It's kind of nice.
If you have not been out to the country bar and you work for Liquid Trucking, what are you doing is all I can say. You got to go experience it, man. It's so cool. I've been out there a few different times, and they run a tight ship. But, okay, so let's move a little bit further on in the process here. After that first week or two, how's the process going? When did you actually, let me back up. You'd never hauled tanker before, am I correct?
No, never hauled a tanker.
How nervous were you about that? Because this is just a whole different game than dry van, man.
Did some cattle with my brothers and my dad, so it's kind of a little different. Livestock definitely is a little different. I mean, they move too, so having a little bit of experience in that, and then also just driving in general. It was kind of nerve-wracking, though. I mean, it definitely hurts the first couple times when you get smacked in the back when you're trying to learn how to, fight with the surge. But once you figure it out, it's not bad.
I never thought about that, but 6 or 12 cattle all deciding they're going to move to one side of a trailer while you're hauling them could probably be some pretty good surge, yeah?
It's one of those things where you pray to God they all don't step at the same time.
Oh, my gosh.
You roll.
Oh, man.
That's exactly what it is.
Putting your faith in a trailer full of cattle that they're not going to make a decision all at the same time has got to be nerve-wracking, man. How would you compare the two, your nerves at the wheel, especially now 6 months in? Are you totally comfortable now with the tank? You feel like you've got it down?
Absolutely. No, well, I never get comfortable, man. That's one thing I got to say. Yeah, I feel a lot more confident than I did 6 months ago, but I don't let myself get comfortable. You never can let yourself get comfortable, man. That's when mistakes start happening. That's when you start messing up. And I've had a couple of those here already, but I mean, ultimately comfort. But, comfort-wise, yeah, I could say I'm definitely a lot more confident driving one of these things now than I was when I first started.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, who was your driver trainer?
John. Shout out to John.
John Lohan, my man. He's great, isn't he, man?
He's funny. He didn't like me at first, and then I grew on him, I guess, or something. That's what we talked about. But yeah, it definitely was a funny first week with him, or 2 weeks with him. And I gotta say, like I said, he didn't like me at first, and after a while, he's like, you're all right. So it's cool.
Well, I'm sure he felt the same way about me. I'm kind of intense, Frank, so I think a lot of people feel that way about me when they first meet him. I'm kind of right up in their business, and so, but yeah, you give John some time, you can grow on him, but that's great. So what was one thing that you took away from those, were you in the truck for 2 weeks with John?
Yep, I was in the truck for 2 weeks.
What was one thing that he taught you about the job you're doing now that you still are thinking about every single day?
Definitely, it was definitely the process when unloading tankers and stuff like that. Like, kind of breaking it down into separate pieces. That way you don't forget stuff. And I guess working with different tankers, I mean, really, it's just, some of those things with him working with the different ones or whatnot, that was definitely something I keep pretty close. Or even actually when you drop trailers, that's a big one. When you drop trailers here, he made sure, he's like, don't put the feet all the way down and drop your airbags when you drop it. Guys put them high all the time, and he would get on me about it. I mean, he drilled that. That was the one thing I think I remember fully from him.
Good.
Just the trailer. Drop the trailer proper. Don't drop it like an idiot, you know? It's like, all right, fine.
That'll
Hey,
be
we've
that
heard-
voice stuck in your head forever, like my dad when I was a teenager. Be a lady, and it's always there. It's
Yeah.
always there.
Shut off the damn light or something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
No, I get it, man. And it's funny that you bring that up because we've had drivers come on and say that on the podcast before. Like, hey, take care of your damn In fact, I think it was a final thoughts segment, if I'm not mistaken, where a driver just went totally out of left field and was like, I want to say this, and really kind of dressed down. He didn't use any names, but he let the people that were doing it incorrectly know that it was a huge inconvenience. So I'm sure there's a lot of liquid drivers listening right now that are giving John Lohan a round of applause, and we'll go right in there with him because it sounds like, you know, obviously that's causing an issue, and he wanted to nip that in the bud before it ever got to you, man. That's good training, right?
Absolutely.
So after we're done with training, let's move forward a little bit. Day one, you're on the job. You've got your load. What's going through your mind?
I'm like, well, I've been OTR before, so it wasn't like a huge thing, like it was, but it was still like nerve wracking because I'm like, well, I know I'm gonna have to haul hazmat, and hazmat's just a little different than hauling, you know, a dry box, and so that was a little bit nerve wracking. And I think my first load was Auburndale, Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Like my first one out the gate, I think was Florida.
So they're sending you down there to see how the other side lives weather-wise and also maybe traffic-wise?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, I've been to the South a lot when it comes to like when I did OTR. Like I've been to Ocala, Florida with FedEx a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for the most part, yeah, it was a little different because it's like they were sending me far, and I think it was hazmat. I think it was corrosive or something along those lines, and I'd never hauled hazmat before up to that point, and so it was just one of those things that I was kind of like nervous about. Cause I'm like, oh man, like this is gonna be crazy. Like that's one of the first loads I think I remember. I think it was. Don't quote me on it, but the memorable one was definitely Auburndale because I don't. From what I think I know from me, I think that was like my first load. I'd like to say it was. I might be forgetting something, but that was definitely a memorable one.
Don't worry, Amanda and I aren't going to check your work here, man. If that's the memorable one, that's the one we want to hear about, right, Amanda?
I'm so bad. I would be messing with people anytime I have a hazmat load. Like, you know how if you want to use the carpool lane, they have that buddy mannequin guy that can go in your passenger seat? What if you have one that like looks like an alien? You know, like do a little something for the people you got to drive by, you know, just pop the little alien in the passenger seat and let their imaginations run wild.
I don't know what the cops out in Ohio are doing, but in the carpool lanes up here in Oregon, they would be on you like a rat on a Cheeto if you came through in a tractor trailer with a tank on your back. But hey, I'm not telling you not to do it. Actually, I probably should tell you not to do it. This is a podcast. This is like a professional thing. But
yes,
I do
like blow up alien at home.
Well, I mean, you can bring him with you. Just maybe don't use the carpool lane, right? That might be entertaining for some of the rest of the drivers on the road. Who knows? Well, that's good, man, that we've got a good first load for you. A little bit nerve-wracking. I bet you were exhausted after that first one because when you're doing something like that for the first time on your own, that's a long trip from Iowa down to Florida. You probably just crashed and slept harder than you've ever slept for a while, I would assume. That's how I would do it. Take us through that kind of first after the load. How'd you feel?
I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. I mean, I was driving as slow as possible. I wasn't shifting lanes. I was a grandma, dude. I mean, I was just cruising, and it's because I guess it got drilled into my mind early, like, hey, the surge can throw you forward. By the way, if you surge, if you have to hard brake, like you might not come to a complete stop because the surging might throw you a couple more feet forward just for giggles. And so I took that to heart. And so for that first load, yeah, I drove really slow. I mean, I was probably driving anywhere between 55 and like 65 the whole time.
So did you feel prepared? Did you feel like the training and the orientation and everything prepared you that, I mean, you've never driven a tanker by yourself before. You got in there. Of course you're nervous. That's without saying, right? But did you feel like that time that you spent getting ready fully prepared you for the job ahead?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because I really feel like you don't know until you do it. Like,
yeah.
And yeah, when you're in training, you're sitting there and you're doing it and you're walking through it, and you know you're confident. But when you're finally in the moment of it, you're just kind of like, all right, you know, like it's like the Mike Tyson saying, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kind of
And
like one of those things.
they can only show you so much during training. They can, and you know, I think about our guy Polar Bear when I say this is because he's seen so much in his 30 years here with Liquid, and he still hasn't seen it all, and he'll tell you that. So that stands to reason, Frank, that you just can't know everything. But it seems like, aside from the things that they can't show you, the things that they can't predict that you're going to run into, they did a pretty good job on the things that they can predict and got you set up and at least it seems to me like set up for success.
Absolutely. The groundwork is there. The basics are good. They run you through them really well. John is a really big pain in the rear end when it comes to going to the training room. We didn't get a lot of chances to actually go over there, but there were a lot of times where we could have ended off early, and he's like, "Nope, go right over there. Let's go and unload water from the tanks and then load it back into the tank." And it's just a lot of monotony, but I mean, you know, it works. It definitely drills it into your mind.
Yeah, John's not letting you go home early, man. Not if there's hours left in the day. You're going to be out there working and learning, man. I know that about him, and that's good, right? We'd all like to get off a couple hours early on a Friday, but if we can spend those couple hours doing something productive, we might as well, right, Amanda?
Yeah, hello, 5:28, and I'm listening to you guys talk about these amazing restaurants not too long ago.
So, okay, so we're past our first load here. Let's talk about this. What's been better than you've expected, actually? Let's fast forward to right now. We get our first load in. We know that these last 7-8 months have been spent getting better at the job and learning about it and getting comfortable, not too comfortable. But what was better than you expected with this gig?
The equipment and the pay, and yeah, the equipment and the pay. I mean, I got to say, definitely the trucks.
And I think let's just dig into that. What do you like about your truck, man? Because it's such a big deal. We know that it gets asked in orientation or in the phone calls recruiting process. Drivers, one of the top probably 5 or 6 things that they're going to ask about is what type of equipment they're going to be hauling around. And, you know, creature comforts and just overall comfort is a big part of the job you're doing. So talk to me about your truck. What are you driving? What do you like about it?
The Freightliner. I think it's a Cascadia. It's a flat top. Not sure what year it is, but it's got like this cubby at the top, and that was a game changer because when I first started here, they gave me a Volvo, and the Volvo was cool. I mean, it had some cool things to it, but it didn't have the storage, and I was literally having, because I like to shop at Sam's Club since I'm gone all the time. I use the Sam's Club app. By the way, big game changer. If you're an over-the-road guy, get your groceries delivered to your truck. It's awesome.
Oh, that sounds nice.
So I'm putting the food. I'm having to put the drinks and stuff down on the floor. And every morning when I got up, I'd have to put my boots on and then put the drinks on the bed.
Okay.
Right, and I would have to transfer them back and forth. And this truck, man, when I saw them cubbies at the top, oh my God, I literally had to call and say, listen, if you were in front of me, I'd kiss your guys' feet, man. This truck is amazing because I get to store everything. I said, y'all, Dave made a joke to me. He goes, so now that you got your new truck, are you going to start going home? I said, no. I said, heck no. I said, you messed up giving me this one. I said, you made me do something. Thank you.
Yeah, now you're going to be out here challenging for top dog for miles every year because of it. Now you like the thing so much, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I get to store everything that I need or everything that that all the stuff I bring with me, and I get to store more drinks, more food in the fridge because the mini fridge is a lot bigger, and yeah, it's really awesome. It's a really nice truck. And this one that they gave me, I probably shouldn't say too much, but the APU systems that they're trying out, they're not a full thing yet. They're just on trial. I was one of the first trucks to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And Bo called me and asked if I wanted it. I said, heck yeah, I want an APU. I said, they're awesome. And this truck had way less miles than the truck I already had. This one had like 130, I think. When I started, I put 20,000 on it, I think, since I've had it. If I'm not mistaken, I can't recall fully because I mean my days blend, and I'll tell you I forget a lot more things than I take in. But this truck had way less miles than I know the one that I gave back to them. Same model truck, but just way nicer. So they definitely hooked me up.
That's awesome, man. Glad to hear it. We know Liquid's got great equipment. We know that, in fact, the equipment is run as such a tight ship that we never get a chance to talk to the guy that runs the whole thing. We've had him on the podcast like once or twice. He's just too busy. So, you know, it stands to reason. They got good equipment. It takes a lot to maintain that. So hats off to everybody in the equipment department, the shop, all of that. We don't talk about you guys enough on here, and it takes an entire village to make that part of Liquid Trucking go, so hats off there. Amanda, I will tell you this. Every time I see video of the inside of a tractor trailer, my first thought is it's the smallest studio apartment that you'll ever live in. And I always am just worried that it would be cramped in there. And you guys that have done over-the-road stuff for a long time, Frank, you've seen a lot of different scenarios on the inside of the truck. Talk to me. You've already told me bigger fridge, the cubby, the storage, and everything. How's just the elbow room in there, man? You feel like you've got room to move around and live while you're, you're in your berth?
Well, sir, I'll be honest with you. I am 6'4", and I probably have a 54-inch chest span, so I'm a large man.
That's
I never feel like... But I actually stretch out really well on this bed.
At 6'4"?
Although I had to, crunch up. Yep, at 6'4", I can spread all the way out, stretch my legs, and I am, happy. It's really awesome.
That's why he loves the cubby, man. He can reach it.
Yeah, right. I need a footstool in there, man.
Absolutely.
That's great, though.
I put all the stuff up at the top, man. It's great. I get to see it, too, eye level.
That's
Dude, you're
crazy. What is that even like?
54-inch chest, man. What are you benching? You've got some chest muscles. Yeah. Well, I don't even know what those are called. Pecs.
I'm a big man. I mean, I got a little chunky. I'm not gonna lie. Trucking makes you that way, but. Yeah, I got a big chest. I'm broad-shouldered. I'm very large, not only just wide across, but also tall. And yeah, I mean, but even then though, I still feel like I have enough room to kind of feel comfortable just being in here in general. And the driving room and everything else, I'm actually very comfortable. Even when I lay down in the back. Now I can't stand up all the way, but that's neither here nor there. But, I mean, I can definitely sprawl out on my bed and I have room and I'm absolutely fine.
Well, we can make them a little bit wider, Frank, but we got clearance issues, low bridges to worry about. So I don't know that they're going to have one that a 6'4" guy could stand up in. I could probably do jumping jacks in the thing if you want my honest opinion. So
jump rope.
Yeah, right. But I'm glad that you mentioned that, Frank, because, far be it from me to be like, how big old boy are you? And just throw that question out there. But I know that there's drivers out there of all shapes and sizes, and to just be able to have somebody who's 6'4", that's taller than average by quite a bit, be able to say, yeah, man, I can stretch out in this bed and it's a comfortable cab. There's drivers out there listening, thinking about going to work for Liquid right now that's going to resonate with, man. I really appreciate you shedding some light on it because, like I said, Amanda, maybe it's like I'm a closet claustrophobia case because I don't get that way on planes. I don't get that way, even if I'm in a cramped space, but man, when I see film or when I crawl up into the cab of a truck, I start to get a little bit claustrophobic. I don't know how you feel about that, Amanda.
Oh my gosh, I love decorating things. So first of all, my mind immediately goes to the first Cheech and Chong movie and how they decked that car out. Do they make a chain link steering wheel large enough for a semi? That is literally my first question.
I'm sure they do. Whether or not you'd get it by safety is another question altogether, but hey, I'm sure they make them, right? Frank, you've probably seen a chain link steering wheel out there in your travels.
Actually, there's a lot of custom Peterbilts I've come across in my time. Definitely working with, with my dad and all that with the cow hauling. Yeah, you definitely see some crazy setups. I mean, big old stick shifts, you name it. They get really wild with it.
Oh, and if you want to hear a little bit more about some antique trucks and some custom Peterbilts, go back and listen to our episode 116 with the American Truck Historical Society. We talked about some really cool builds on that. If that little comment there got your ears itching, Frank, do you feel like you found a home at Liquid at this point in your tenure?
I definitely feel like I have. I definitely feel like, and it's funny too, because I never had long-term plans when it comes to like a lot of trucking and whatnot. But, I definitely look at this company and I definitely say to myself that this is a long-term home. You take care of it, you take care of them, they take care of you, they do right by you, they don't screw you over. They're fair. A lot of the time, a lot of the guys, I know some guys I've talked to, they've said things to me about, man, I'll go in and I'll read my check stub. And I haven't had to do that. I haven't had to felt the need to do that, since I've been here. And I always feel justified when I read and I look at my paycheck. I'm like, you know what? That looks right to me. And I just know that they definitely do right by me, and I try to do right by them any chance I get. So no, I definitely say it's definitely a place that I could see myself being for long term.
That's so cool, man. I love hearing that. Let me frame it like this to you. There are prospective drivers out there listening to this podcast right now. We know that because we see how many people listen, and Liquid ain't got that many employees. So we know that they're out there listening. What is a message directly from Frank Moreno to a driver who's on the fence right now, listening to this show, thinking about giving our friend Jake Debo a call?
Jump on it, man. Jump on it. Hold on with both hands and ride it out, because I'm telling you, you won't find nothing better. I mean, this is a small company feel with a large company, presence. It's what it definitely, there are definitely a lot good equipment, good trucks, good people. I mean, you can't have, anything better. I don't have any complaints working here. I could find many complaints about places I've worked in the past, but definitely not here. That's for sure.
Man,
so thinking about it, do it.
Jump on, hold on with both hands, and ride it out is definitely the words of somebody who's hauled cattle in their past, Amanda. No question. That's great, man. And who do you think, what kind of driver out there do you think Liquid really appeals to? You came from the dry van side of things. You've also done some livestock. Is this, could you comfortably say any driver out there should look at this gig, or do you think it more appeals to a certain subsect of those drivers?
I think if you're a driver who's looking for a home and you're looking for a long-term job, this is for you. If you're not looking for a long-term job, keep on looking, buddy. You don't waste their time, because they're not out here to waste yours. That's for sure.
That's awesome, man. Frank, I can't thank you enough for coming on and giving us a peek behind the curtain in these first 6 months. Amanda, I think this was such a cool segment to just show some drivers out there that are thinking about it. Like, I'm thinking about going to work driving for Liquid. You guys better be glad that I enjoy doing what I do so much. Otherwise, you might have me out there skipping off guardrails around you. But Amanda, your thoughts here before we let Frank go.
So I gotta say, if you already work for Liquid and you're listening and you want to see what that top cubby looks like, maybe get a hold of Frank and see if he'll give you a little foothold, so you can take a look at that. But no, I mean, it was great information, and I definitely am with Marcus, where it's like we're gonna come steal your job now. So look out.
Well, Frank, final thoughts from you, man, before we let you go. You kind of did a cool little final thought thing where you told prospective drivers to jump on it, but I want to give you the floor, let you say anything that you want to anybody that might be listening. Take as much time as you need, man.
I definitely just want to say, Liquid Trucking, from previous drivers that don't work here anymore, I've heard really good reviews from them. I mean, I've had guys come up to me like, wow, working here. And they've been like, oh man, you working for Liquid? I'm like, yeah, I work for Liquid. They're like, dude, that's a good company. If I didn't have to do this, I'd still be there. If I didn't have to, from life circumstances or whatnot, it never seems like, honest to God, working here, it's crazy to think this, and I got to say it out loud, I guess. But it never seems to me that a driver ever leaves here because of a bad experience that he had. He leaves here because life and circumstances just happen to happen, and that's unfortunately what it is. But I will say that this company is nothing but good people, good loads, good work ethic. If you're out here to make it, they're out here to help you make it. I mean, if you want to be home every week, be home every week. If you don't want to be home every week, you're like me, you just want to be out and making money, they'll keep you rolling. They'll keep you in the money. So, whatever you are, whatever you want to be, they're going to help you achieve those goals. And as long as you're in it and you're in it to win it and you're in it to help the company as well, they'll take good care of you, man. And that's really all I got to say about that.
Well said, Frank Moreno. Thank you so much for the time today, man. You know you're welcome on this show anytime. Just get in touch with me if you ever want to come back on and talk about anything else. And most importantly, be safe out there, my friend.
Thanks, Marcus. You too.
Great stuff from Frank there. Really happy that he actually reached out and said, hey, I would like to come on the show. And this is an example, Amanda, of when a driver doesn't really have like a hard topic that they wanted to discuss. And just through chatting with me, we came up with, what about your first 6 months here? And Frank loved the idea, and he did awesome. That was such a great interview.
Frankie, baby.
I was waiting for that. I had to set you up for it. Hearing about, I said it in the cold open. When you take a job like this and you're taking a job as a career, right? This is where I'm embarking on a career. You're kind of stuck between, this is a huge gamble. Did I just make the best decision I've ever made or the worst decision of my life? And it's hard because with a career change, it's hard to feel like it's any other thing. It's either going to work out or it's all going to fall apart and there's no middle ground. It's not really ever the case. There's always the middle ground there, but super happy to hear how well it worked out for Frank and hope that some of you prospective Liquid employees out there listening to this show right now take his words to heart, because that's a man that's very convicted. He wanted to come on, and he's actually, when I was on the phone with him, Amanda, I said, well, what do you want to talk about? He said, talk about how great of a company Liquid is. I could talk about that for days. And yeah, I think he's probably right.
We had to cap him somewhere, though. So.
Yeah, right. So between him and me, you guys would be listening to this podcast for a calendar week, okay? All right, so we got a little bit of time to fill here, and something that we've never done on this show before, but I've always wanted to, always just never found a place for it. Little thing that sometimes me and my friends like to do, around a campfire late at night, maybe a few pops. Maybe this is what we end up talking about when we end up here in the man cave when all the wives have gone to bed after a football game. We're going to play some Would You Rather, Amanda. You familiar?
I am. It's kind of like this or that, which you've previously spoke about, of either it's going to go great or it's going to all fall apart, right?
Yes. Well, I did not take it very easy on you for any of these, because Would You Rather for me, a lot of people play Would You Rather with one really clear good choice and one really clear bad choice, and that's kind of it. Some people play it with a pretty clear good choice with a caveat and a pretty clear bad choice with a caveat. You're not really testing me. You're not really lighting my fire here. I want two bad choices, and I want you to have to pick between which one is worse. So,
I'm ready.
Let's start out. Would you rather hit Chicago at 4:30 p.m.? And by the way, I've themed these around trucking drivers that are listening, so you can play right along with us. And by the way, send us an email if you would like to send me your list, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. Would you rather hit Chicago at 4:30 p.m. or Atlanta at 4:30 p.m. traffic-wise? Amanda, go.
I'm going to go with Chicago, just because if I'm going to be stuck somewhere in traffic, I want there to be some good food, and I'm kind of leaning towards that deep dish, if you know what I'm saying. And
good.
Also less likely to be like excruciatingly hot, right? You got to go with that.
Yeah. Maybe more likely to be just punishingly frozen, though, right? And windy up there in Chicago. You're driving a big truck. You might get blown over parked on the highway.
Straight to the deep dish pizza. blow me in the right direction. I'll be all right with it.
Listen, I have not driven in Chicago ever. I've been to Chicago,
Really?
but it's always been planes and then, public transportation or Ubers and that type of thing. So I don't have a frame of reference. I do have a frame of reference for Atlanta. That frame of reference is a trip I took just a month or so ago, and also every driver that I've ever spoken to on this podcast. So I'm going to go with Chicago too, not because of the deep dish, although fantastic reasoning, by the way.
Thank you.
Just because, I don't have the fear of the unknown as much, especially if I know that even if it is terrible in the unknown, there's deep dish pizza.
That's right.
Atlanta was a circus. I mean, I just felt the whole time in Atlanta, I felt like somebody is going to drive over the top of me because I'm driving too slow. That was
Sir,
what I felt like.
Any city that has an airport with its own subway system is probably going to have some crazy traffic. Let's be for real.
Yeah. Oh, and don't even get me started on the airport because my ride was our CEO got there to pick me up, and I said, well, this is where I'm at, and he said, well, this is where I'm at, and I walked up to the security guard and I said, hey, I need to get to this terminal, and he goes, you got to hop on a bus and maybe even take a cab. I was like, are you kidding me? And he goes,
it's
yeah.
Crazy.
And I stood outside on that curb for 40 minutes. It took him 40 minutes to get from where he was at the same goddamn airport to get to where I was. So listen, Atlanta, great city. Coca-Cola, love you. I got to drive by where the Braves play down there. We had a dinner right down by the stadium. Beautiful stadium. Look, I don't have too many bad things to say about Atlanta. It's the traffic. I'm going Chicago again. Pizza.
And Chicago has 2 airports, so even more reason for you to like Chicago more. But yeah, let's go. Let's go.
I've only been to O'Hare, and that one, I went into a bathroom at Chicago O'Hare that had police tape over every single bathroom stall. The urinals were open, but all 4 of the stall doors were horrifically kicked in, and there was police tape all over.
Yeah, but you know
them.
what happened? They overheard someone say they were going to blow the bathroom up, so they had to go and tape it off and investigate.
All right. Would you rather have a permanently slow truck? Let's say you're governed at 57. Permanently
I don't even
slow
need
truck.
to know the other answer. I picked the other thing. Nothing could be worse. Okay, go ahead. The face you're making.
I told you I wasn't going to take this easy on you. I don't know. I run about 4 degrees hotter than the average bear, so this other one is way worse for me, a permanently weak air conditioner. So you've got a truck that won't top over 57, or you've got a truck that is like a breath of AC. I'm talking about if you are in one of those just humid, miserable Atlanta August afternoons, you're not even feeling it. It's not even getting to you.
Well, listen, I'm going to be stuck in traffic in Atlanta anyway, so we're going to go with the governed engine then.
Right. So you can
I
get
won't
some
be able
good
to go
AC.
very fast. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to be honest with you. I figured you and I would differ on some of these, but I can't do no AC. Like my AC in my truck is out right now. And the only reason that I haven't spent the thousands of dollars to get it fixed is because it's winter. The minute that it gets over like 60 degrees on the daily, I'm going in and spending a lot of money just to keep my cheeks cool. And I've always been that way. I don't like an open window. I got hit in the face by a bee one time with an open window. I just don't like an open window at high speeds, Amanda. So I got to have an air conditioner.
Fair.
A slow truck is humiliation in public, but a bad AC is suffering in private. And I'll take the public humiliation. I've made a living out of it. So, number 3, would you rather back into a tight dock with 12 veteran drivers watching you, or miss the dock completely and have to do the truck stop loop of shame? Now, this one, I know there's some drivers out there wiggling around in their seat right now. What I think, there's probably a few different schools of drivers, Amanda. There's one school saying, I wouldn't miss the dock in the first place. There's another school saying, if there's 12 guys watching, I'm going to get out and give all 12 of them a piece of my mind and tell them what they can go do. And then there's the guy that just says, I'll drive around the truck stop 700 times. It doesn't bother me. I want to know where you're at.
Going with the parking in front of the veterans. Your face right now. I wish everybody could see your face. Really?
I know these guys. These guys are ruthless. They wouldn't let you see if you make one little mistake here, but it's a mistake that was like something they taught you day one of orientation. You make that mistake, it is going to live with you for the rest of your driving career because of these guys.
I don't know. I'm not sensitive for one.
That's good. That's a good point.
But I think also like my older brother, he's no longer with us, but he did a really good job when he was around of just harassing the heck out of me. So I think he like thickened my skin for me. Thank you, Matt. Rest in peace. Appreciated. But like relentless, the most relentless type of sibling you can possibly have where like, oh, how come your eyebrows don't match each other? And then you're in the mirror for like a week. Like, was he being serious or was he just messing with me? So I'm definitely going with parking in front of the veteran drivers. I also love to drive, right? So that's kind of like a thing I think that I think I would nail it. I think I would nail
Okay.
it and then that would give me license to talk hella smack when I get out of the truck, right?
So let me tell you how I'm going to relate this. Being somebody that doesn't drive a truck, I can't tell you how I would feel with 12 drivers watching me, especially vet drivers that are good at what they do and are going to nail this on the first time with one eye closed and one arm tied behind their back. But I'll tell you what, I like to golf, okay? And a lot of the times my golf outings will be like weekday, like 3:30. I can break out of here a little bit easy, go hit the course. And so what happens is I hit the course at prime retiree and high school practice time. So I'm either playing up against a bunch of young kids that don't really care about the game yet. They're not out there to move through it and get done. Or I'm playing with a bunch of retirees that have no schedule whatsoever.
Right.
I like to play pretty fast. And so often people will ask me to play through. Hey, you go ahead. You're going faster. We feel like you're holding up or we're holding you up. Amanda, last season, I was on the best round of my life. I've been golfing since I was 13 years old. I had never put together a string of 14 holes better than these 14 that I have just played. And on the 15th, which is only 3 from the end, these high schoolers say, man, we've been holding you up all day. Will you please just play through? Like, we've been watching you. You're playing really good. We just want you to go ahead. And sure enough, 2 foursomes of high school kids whose opinion of me and $6,000 wouldn't get you a down payment on a nice Ford used pickup, okay? Their opinion doesn't matter. But I hit 3 of them into the goddamn trees right after playing 14 of the best holes of my life. And so that's why when I'm seeing tight dock with 12 drivers watching, what I'm thinking is 15th hole tee box with 8 high schoolers watching. And I crumbled. I folded like a wet sheet of paper, Amanda. I can't do it. So give me the loop of shame. I'll drive around that loop like a NASCAR driver. I don't care. And that's I really do feel like that's the best example I can give you of relating it to that audience. Like, they complimented me. They said, you're playing great. Watch how bad it can get, kids. Just watch. Jesus. So you can tell, like, my face got red during that. I'm dying on that hill for sure. How about this one? Would you rather have to use only truck stop showers forever or only rest area bathrooms forever?
I gotta say, I don't have a ton of experience with the showers. Most of what I know comes from social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a bit of experience with rest stop bathrooms, and I will say that they're usually pretty darn clean. So I'm going to go with the rest stop bathroom.
This is such a hard one for me because I have, and I'm sorry, I normally don't talk about this stuff when there's a woman present because I think it's a little bit tacky.
Don't
but
count me.
You're
Think of
on
me
the
like
liquid
your sister.
Yeah, you're on the Liquid Trucking podcast, so you bought into this whether you like it or not. But I and the drivers know this, refuse, if I can keep from it, to poop anywhere but my house. Like, it's just that's
No.
it's been something. It's got to be behind a locked door without question. And then obviously I prefer my house over any other locked door. But that being said, I am also at least a 1 shower a day guy, sometimes 2 showers a day. Like, I'll get sweaty up here. It gets hot in my studio. We'll record a bunch of content. Definitely going down and hitting a second shower before the wife comes home. And so I'm so torn down the middle on this one, Amanda. I don't know. Like, is death an option? Can I just die and not answer the question? Because, look, I don't have a lot of experience at truck stop showers either, but one thing that we did do back on a different podcast that we were doing, it was meant to be sort of an entertaining, all-encompassing thing. It was, I believe it was called Unplugged OTR was the podcast. We sent one of our hosts to a local pilot and had him actually take a truck stop shower with us on the phone and kind of walk us through it. he was very impressed with the cleanliness of that shower. And I think because I would develop a complex and probably have to be committed to a straitjacket in a rubber room, that I'm going to go with, I would rather use the truck stop shower every day, because I just don't know if I can poop at a rest stop for the rest of my life.
I can't even with you.
I can't do it. That's not that bad. Like, that I don't like to poop in public. There's more people that are like that, right? I'm not the only
What do
one.
you do if you're out of town? Like, that's crazy. I don't know. That's like very planned. That's so much planning and having to have like a very regulated schedule. I'm already imagining TMI about you. Like, what's the next? What's the next would you rather? We got to move on.
I mean, because, like, you know, I'm a hunter, right? And so sometimes nature calls when you're in nature and you have to do nature in nature. Worst day of my life that year, without a doubt, no question. Doesn't matter if I take down the biggest animal with the best shot on the most scenic location, still the worst day of my life if I've had to do nature in nature.
Oh, God.
Okay, moving on through these. I got a lot of these. Would you rather drive only nights forever or only days with permanent heavy traffic?
That's hard. Now that we're getting up there in years, our night vision is not what it used to be.
Neither is our patience with heavy traffic.
Yeah, I know, but at least I can see the things to avoid them. You know what I'm saying? So just because, like, I would prefer to say nights, but I know that, these old eyes, they ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I'm probably going to go with traffic.
Yeah. I don't mind driving at night, but I've had an astigmatism my entire life, so I get the halos from the lights and everything like that, and it does make me feel like, especially in inclement weather, I would probably be unsafe, and I don't want to do that. That's the name of the game, is safety, and probably go permanent traffic. I'd be willing to bet my hairline recedes all the way to the George Costanza line within 6 months if I did have to do this, because there's nothing that stresses me out more than traffic. Like, I have this hard thing in traffic where I want to make moves. Obviously, I want to drive defensively, but I also don't want to, like, cause somebody to have to do something, like make a maneuver or anything like that. So I drive defensively, but I also drive what I would call very, like, aware of my surroundings. And traffic is the one thing where, like, you're never more than 3 feet from somebody that doesn't give a single solitary F about you and everything about what you have going on when you're in traffic. And I think that I would be a stress ball without hair, and I'm already losing it, so it would go faster. But I think I'm with you because of the halos that I get. They're getting so bad anymore. God, I hate getting old. Moving on here. We got time for a couple more. This is a good one. Would you rather have a screaming reefer unit behind you that's on all the time, even when you're stopped, and you gotta have that on when you're sleeping? Or would you rather your tractor have squeaky brakes that embarrass you every place that you go?
I think we've talked about already that I don't care. So we're going to go with the squeaky brakes for sure.
Yeah, because
I'd rather annoy someone else than me be annoyed, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of the thing with the reefer units. People hate parking next to them. So you kind of do annoy other people. So for me, when my truck's brakes squeak when I'm backing out of my driveway, I feel like I should write every one of my neighbors an apology letter, But the other thing is I need a fan when I sleep. Like, my wife and I, going back ever since we met, there's always been like a pretty good sized fan in the room making a little bit of noise. I hate to say it to all you guys that don't like parking next to me out there, but I think the reefer unit would help me sleep like a baby, Amanda. And I'm sorry for what it does to the people around me, but I'm going with the reefer unit here.
I understand the reasoning for sure.
Yeah, I feel like you think you're starting to figure me out in this segment a little bit.
Slightly.
Just thinking about how lucky she is that she met someone like her husband and not someone like me. That's what's going on now.
He
right?
sleeps with the fan too, so
okay, all right. Yeah, but he probably can poop in public without having a panic attack,
anywhere,
right?
anytime. Listen, that's what I look for in a man. All right.
All right, this one I think is a real good one to end on because it applies to everybody, especially truck drivers, but everybody. Would you rather always be, for the rest of your life, 30 minutes early or always, without fail, 30 minutes late?
Oh, definitely early. I already have to be like in some sort of increment of 5 minutes early to wherever I'm going. So 5, 10, 15, whatever it is, I have to always be pulling into that parking lot at that very specific amount of time early. I don't know, I'm weird that way.
No, I get it. Here's the deal. It's a millennial thing. Our parents beat it into us at a young age that if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late.
Right.
And I heard that from my college professors. I heard that from all my coaches growing up. I was always just conditioned to need to be there 5 minutes early, whatever it was. And yeah, 30 minutes late, I can't live with myself. Like,
No.
I'm so worried about making a dent in somebody else's day when my brakes squeak when I pull out of the driveway 25 minutes late. You think I'm going to make it to wherever I'm going and be 30 minutes late and not be falling all over myself for the rest of the day? No goddamn way. You can see me 30 minutes early with an ice cold Monster and a smile on my face.
There you go.
And look, I know that's what our drivers are thinking too. Ain't no way there's one driver answering this question going, "Oh, I'd rather be late."
Right.
Now, let me call your dispatch and have you answer that question with them on the phone too, all right? But drivers, we'd love to hear what you have to think about any of these. Send us an email, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. And we agreed on a couple of them. You know, I'm a little bit more neurotic than what you thought, but you know, I didn't really learn anything about you other than I can't say anything to you that's going to hurt your feelings. You got thick skin.
I sure do. All right, listen, I'll give you a would you rather that you don't have to necessarily answer, but this one's going to stay in your noggin forever. And if you're listening along, I apologize. You're going to be freaked out by it. So I used to teach podcasting at a broadcasting school, and some of my students made an entire podcast that is called Would You Rather. And I listened to one of their episodes, and I'm telling you, this one scenario will never leave me.
Okay.
Would you rather have every bit of hair on your entire body, head hair, chest hair, arm hair, whatever it is, be made of spaghetti? Or would you rather sweat maple syrup?
That's a really good one.
I know, and it's gross too. Either way, like what on earth?
I mean, you're already learning so much about me today. I am a hairy individual.
Yes.
Other than, you know, I'm starting off on a Costanza cut up here. I got the crop circle at the very top. It's going away. But as far as beard down, like it's pretty Pacific Northwest up around here, if you know what I'm saying, all right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if the spaghetti thing would even be doable for a guy like me. Like spaghetti toes, that doesn't work. I don't see how that works at all. And also, like, I think about getting tattoos, and my wife's a tattoo artist, and I like to get some tattoos from her. She's not shaving spaghetti off me. She doesn't really even like to shave hair off of me. So, and I am a bit of a sweater, and I've got a sweet tooth, Amanda. So I'm putting all of it together. Give me the maple syrup sweat. I know it's going to be sticky, but sweat's already kind of gross, and I would way rather smell that sweet maple scent than what I smell like when I sweat, if you want my honest opinion. But I'm curious to see what you think.
I'm telling you, I have never been able to make a decision on this. And it's been since, I want to say they put this out in like July. And since July, I have thought about it from time to time. And I just can't come up with anything other than the perfect couple would be one of each. Because then you could make breakfast like Elf. You know, a little spaghetti with some syrup on top. Call it a day.
You have to get a workout in first from the syrup guy, right? Unless he just wakes up sweating, which is another problem.
Unless he's real nervous, right?
Yeah, unless you take him to a public place and say, "Hey, you got to poop here," then just nothing but syrup, just cups of syrup.
I broke my chair. Thank you.
Very welcome. That means that we did a good job here today. We got one broken chair and way too much information about your host. Thanks for being here today. Again, if you want to answer these, and I would love to hear your answer to the one that Amanda just presented, all your hair is spaghetti or you sweat maple syrup, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. Give us your answers. I know that they will be entertaining, and if we get enough of them sent in, we'll definitely read them on the air. So make sure and put your name on that as well if you don't want to stay anonymous, which I guess I could understand why you might want to for this email. But, Amanda, that's going to put the brakes on it for us today. Thanks for being here with me. Great stuff from Frank Moreno earlier. Really want to Hear about all your guys' experiences. If you're a guy that's maybe just put his first 6 months in, maybe you're just put that first year in, maybe it's 5 years, let's have some anniversary specials. Let's talk to them. Reach out, podcast@liquidtrucking.com, and also stop by the website, podcast.liquidtrucking.com. That's where you can find that. That's it for us today, Amanda. Tell the drivers bye. I'll hit the tagline, and we'll press stop.
All right. Peace out, road warriors.
You guys stay safe out there. Keep the shiny side up. We'll talk to you next week. It's been the Liquid Trucking Podcast with Marcus and Amanda.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.